Well, it's me back again. Another project using a CompactLogix. This time I have a barcode reader from Zebra that outputs serial port ASCII protocol through RS-232 into the um, CompactLogix L35 CPU. This CPU has no I/O attached to it. The only thing writing to it is a little barcode reader. And here on Ars Logix 5000, I wrote a little program that reads the serial number from this different uh, cards that all have different barcodes in them, 2D barcodes, data matrices. They'll have different ones. Um, and this time I'm trying to use this to replicate something that I had at a workplace, which was people will have badges like this badge here, a badge like this, right? That you will scan into an RFID tag reader, and then the code will be read. And they had that made so when there was a need to reset a fault, especially a quality fault, uh, their user had to be authorized to reset the the quality alarm, right? If several parts were made, they're all are out of a spec within a certain amount, a alarm will pop up on the HMI, and then the operator needed to have the right privileges, and those privileges were done using RFID cards. So I don't have a lot of those cards, and I don't have one of those readers handy. Last one I used it, but I don't have it with me anymore. Um, so I printed these cards with 2D codes in them, and I'm using the barcode reader as a means to transfer those values into the PLC. Now, this time I have the PLC connected to Ignition, right? And MySQL. So have some databases created in this some tables created in this database. So let me just clear the console from MySQL so I can show you that. Let me see, that's that, and clear that. I should clear it now. It's the other way around. It's like this. And then CLS, I believe. No, I'm doing something wrong here. Oh yeah, I think I know what I'm doing. Let me see that, and then that. Must be this one here then. Anyway, I just wanted to clear the console. So let me just reopen the console here. Generic. I have the console here for MySQL. For some reason, I could not clear the console. So here's the console from MySQL, and I'm using a database that I call IoT. And these are the tables that I have. I have, let's see, I have one that is, if you can zoom in a little bit. Oh, not that far in. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit here. There. So I have those three databases, right? And I have a table that has a list of users. So select asterisk or everything from users. So it will show me the table. And I have the sequential ID number for the table, the name of the user, in this case are Roman emperors, and a 6-digit user ID, which will be the number recorded in the cards, right? And then this column here is the most relevant one. So name, user ID, and access level. This will have different like levels. Like this is the highest, 6, 5, and 2, and 4, and 3, and 1. 1 being like the operator, and so forth. So the goal is that the PLC will scan or read the user card and then send that over EIP to the Ignition instance running. And then inside Ignition, I have this project and I'm using this transaction here. So from the PLC, basically what I have is not a lot of information in it, but basically it's three things. Every time a user is trying to access with his or her card, a strobe bit Evolution will turn on. And then Ignition will read that strobe here, the strobe, which is this, and then scan, execute, read from the user here, search user, which is a procedure, a stored procedure, store into the MySQL database. So I'm going to show you what that store procedure looks like. So let me just get to MySQL Workbench, which is not here for some reason. I don't think I ping it to the table. Let me just look for that right here. Hold on. Yeah, I need to ping it. No. Let me see. Let me just ping it here. I want to open file location, and I copy this. Copy it. So I'll have it in my shortcuts. Generic, yeah, there. So, okay, so here is, let me see, I shouldn't close this one here. Let me open that another console. The console is right here. That this is the Workbench connection I found. Yes, okay. Yes. Okay. No, actually, this is the installer. Oh, for God's sake, I copy the installer. Okay, let me trash that. Not that one. For God's sake, I need the Workbench. So let me just look for a Workbench. Okay, this is it. Open file location. Let me copy that shortcut because I want to have all my shortcuts in the same place. So here, goes to here. Okay, that's my Workbench. And I open my database, and inside IoT I have my stored procedure, which is this. So I'm gonna open that stored procedure here. Let me see, I click the little wrench. So this stored procedure takes in two inputs. One of them is the user ID, which is the 6-digit store into this card that the PLC will read through the barcode reader right there. So it takes that, and then there's a constant. So every machine will have its designated number. Like this machine is, I'll call this AV or Allen Bradley. But you will have the machine number or line number or equipment number, and that will be passed into the store procedure. And I'll explain that why it's relevant. And then it will return a access level, which is a tiny integer. So there's some temporary variables in that restore procedure. Temp, tiny integer, a username, varchar, and then current date, which is the current date function, datetime, which is going to be accessed later down here. So the first thing it is going to do is get the access level of the user whose ID number matches the pass argument. So it's going to execute this query. Temp, which is the local temp access, the return access level. Select access level from table users where user ID equals the user you're passing into the store procedure. So it's going to search the table for this user and return the access level into temp. Why is it a temporary variable? This is why, because it could be null. I mean, it could be nothing. There could be no user with that specific card. Let's say you have a card that is from another company or whatever. That card is being removed from the table for whatever reason. It's no longer valid. So it's an invalidated card and it's null. So if the return value is null, return access level 99, which is an invalid user. So null cannot be passed. Instead of null, we pass 99, which is for our purposes null or non-existent. So if access level is different from 99, then set username to the response from this query, which is select name from the table users where user ID matches the user ID argument. And then set the current date, which is this local variable we created, as now, the moment you found it. And then insert that into another table within that database. Why is that relevant? So every time a user tries to batch in to reset a quality alarm, is going to be logged into a user batch logs. And that is relevant so you can find out when someone tried to reset a fault or a quality alert or whatever, and it's in another table. So you can search who did it, when he did it. So that's why this store procedure is relevant inside this database. So Ignition is going to execute that. And the value will return it. And if the value is different than 99, then it's going to log it into the user batch log table. So that is the first portion of what this project Ignition is doing. So right now, if I were to show you, this is the user table here. There are 15 users. If I were to show you the contents of the other table, which is called user, from user batch log, there's nothing in it, and we're going to going back to this later. So let me just scan this with the sorry, the cell phone just moved out of the tripod here. So let me just scan a few tags and we can later show you what this is all about. So let me just scan a random tag right here. I'm not looking there. So a value was logged and the access level for that is 1. Right. So access level for that is 1. And if we look at the designer, we actually verify that it's 1. And if we look at the table now, there will be a value. So let me just try to zoom in to that. And I'm going to try to set this somehow so it's closer, so I can put everything into the same pane. The same image, because it's really hard to get a grasp of everything here. Okay, so we scan, just to see if I can move this back here so the barcodes are red. All right. Let me see what that table looks like. So there's the first entry. So this user is Augustus. This tag here, that is the first one, which is 666-001. Now, if I were to batch another one, this one here, I'm gonna scan this. So I want to put this over there. You guys see it? I'll scan this. And we can see now that is Claudius. And that has what's the access level for that? That is 2. Here, that's what this little, the statuses of Ignition tells you. That is 2. And then we'll look at the PLC side. We actually see that is 2 here. This is access level here, 2. So the PLC knows, okay, this user here is access level 2. This is an operator. He cannot reset the alarm. You need to get a supervisor or a team leader to have higher access level. And let's say you have 5 parts in an hour that are of a spec. So you need someone who has a higher access level, whatever. So the cool thing is that if something happens, you can go back and look at the table. So let me scan another one. I'm going to scan this one here. And you can keep track of what's going on. This user, Caligula, has access level 3. So this guy can go and reset a quality alerts, right? So, but it happened at this time. So you can go back and study your tables and create reports out of Ignition or MySQL and know this is like, you can have all machines accessing this project. So instead of using fingerprint scanners, all machines will access the same database and have, let me just shuffle the cards. I'm going to use this one here. So let me just see if I can zoom out. I'll try to zoom out. I cannot zoom out for some reason. There it is. I want to scan it. And if I were to run the same query, I got Caligula again. I'm lucky, guys. This guy's lucky. Okay, let's try another one here. If I were to try that query, what is the guy? It's Tiberius. And I need to wait. There's some processing time. Tiberius. He's got access level 5. This guy rocks. This is level 5. So that is one way I could recreate the type of system they have on this company, a Japanese company that makes constant velocity joints or drive shafts, and they have a system like this. And I created my sandbox to work in it. Did my own version of the logic, slightly different from what they have, because obviously they're not using barcode readers. They're using RFID tags, which I don't have any. I have a tag, but I don't have a reader that can read a tag, so can't really use it. But the cool thing is that it works great. Ignition not only can do that. I mean, the cool thing is you have MySQL logging values into using 2 tables and using one table to store user privileges, and then another table to record who access what and when. Like this user, Tiberius, try to reset or gain access level to machine AB, right? So this time, this date, and you can know what happened, right? Ask questions. Well, what was the reason why you try to? We have a quality alert, or we have a machine fault, and this was the fault. You can actually log the alarm code here, or if even a message. Right? If there's a message, you can log it and to create another column in the table and log the alarm message. And the key factor here is to standardize your system. So if all machines have the same, and it's really not a lot of data exchanges. If you look at the designer here, it's only 3 values. You got an access level, which you throw back to the PLC, and then a user ID. Sorry, no, actually, I was telling you lies. This is not the access level. This is the ID. Access levels are nothing to do with it. This is the sequential. I was telling you. I was just ugh, forget about it. This is the sequential ID in the auto increment column that describes each element in the table. Sorry, this my bad. Not really that. The access level you can see up here. Tiberius has got a access level of 2 only. Okay, but yeah, and it's right here. Access level 5. Which is access level 5? Who's 5? Who was the last guy? Oh, right. Tiberius ID. Access 5? I wonder what access level is this guy here. Let me see the PLC. 1. And if I look on that was Caligula. Caligula has access level 5. Tiberius has access level 5. Sorry, I had someone walked in and I had to pause the recording. Anyway, yeah. So I was telling you wrongly that this is the access level. This is the ID of the table. Anyway, so that's the whole story. It's a very nice system that I try to recreate to really understand it, and now I kind of like made my own version of it, like trim all the fat from it and made a thinner, smaller version. And the cool thing is I could possibly potentially add more PLCs to the soup. Like I have another CompactLogix, sorry, Siemens S7-1200 MicroLogix do more. This one can talk multiple TCP, but I don't know about strings. That's the question. That's an 820 micro and a Mitsubishi. So, sorry, I could potentially add those machines and expand it. But to get the whole concept, which is centralizing the system. So instead of going machine per machine and change the access level for each car, all you need to know is the user ID, its name, and what access level he's or she's going to have. And then from a single table, adding a user or changing a user attributes makes your life a lot easier, because at a place I worked before, we have those fingerprint biometric scanners, the ones you put your finger on, and you need to teach your index, right index, left index. And then, but the thing is, the database was stored somewhere, but you need to go, these devices were USB, had a USB port and a power and output contact. I think it was PMP output, and it will just turn on, if you're for a short time. And then if the fingerprint was recorded, it will give you access, but it will not tell you what access this guy has. I mean, if it's a 2 or a 3 or a 1, whatever. This way, you don't need a specialized tag. You can have tags like this. I mean, RFIDs, but the problem is that someone can copy it. They can take a picture of it and print another one. So you want to have RFID cards preferably if they're like the encrypted ones. Um, so you can grant each, even the batches that people use to batch in, the punch clock, the ones they use to batch in or start a shift with, those can be used. I think those are the ones that were being used at this company, and it was cool. But the thing, they were using other software. They were using Telet and Microsoft SQL Server, but I'm not rich, so I went for Oracle MySQL 8 point something, and the free version from Ignition, the Design Maker. So that's what I'm using here. So give your thumbs up if you like the video, and I don't like to talk a lot because I sometimes get confused on the videos and try to make better quality videos, but this time I really worked my butt off on this to get you some quality projects. That's all for now. Stay tuned for more. Bye.